Here are the top stories for today, October 20, 2021. President Rodrigo Duterte welcomes calls from the Ombudsman to investigate Pharmally. The Education Department explains why the number of participating schools in the pilot face-to-face classes has been reduced to 30. As the country slowly reopens its economy, the tourism industry works double time in promoting the country. And let us take a look at this mobile kitchen that travels in and around the metro to feed the hungry. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte welcomed calls for the Ombudsman to conduct its own investigation into the controversial multi-billion peso deals between the government and Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation. This after the Philippine College of Physicians urged the Ombudsman to file the appropriate cases against all those responsible for any corruption.
We welcome the call of the Philippine College of Physicians that this matter should be immediately given to our courts and the Ombudsman. We have been saying this for the longest time, and we all know that the Senate cannot prosecute. Mabuti pa ang mga doktor. Alam at naintindihan nila. File cases is the right way to go. Stop using this issue in aid of election. Problema kasi sa Senate natin, trying hard maghanap ng mga issue na may nangungurakot o kaya may nakakapera, but up to now the committee has not really built a case out of the numerous hearings they have conducted.
The President reiterated there was no overpricing in the government's medical supplies procurement, and the Senate panel is free to file charges against companies involved in tax evading.
And if you think that you have identified companies with tax issues, then file the appropriate cases. Matagal na naman namin sinasabi, kasuhan nyo ang mga dapat kasuhan.
Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque dismissed the grand conspiracy theory on the alleged overpricing in the purchase of COVID-19 supplies from Pharmally.
Kukutsero po yan sa panahon ng politika. Pero pag ebidensya po, walang ganyang ebidensya. In fact, hindi nga napatunayan na may kinalaman yung relasyon ng presidente sa pagbili ng mga PPE. Ulitin ko po unang-una, wala pong overprice sa pagbili ng mga PPE, sang-ayon po yan sa chairman ng Commission on Audit. Pangalawa, wala pong nalabag na batas dahil ang Kongreso mismo po ang nagbigay ng Bayanihan 1 at binigyan ng kapangyarihan ang Presidente na bumili ng mga PPEs at iba pang kinakailangan natin sa lalong mabilis na panahon.
President Rodrigo Duterte reminded the public not to be choosy with the COVID-19 vaccine brands. He once again urged the public to get vaccinated as this is the only solution to the prevailing health crisis.
Kayong mamili, kasi sinabi ko lahat yan may visa. Alam mo kung ang bakuna hindi effective? Do you know that if these vaccines that we have been giving to the population are not really effective and right? Marami nang patay ngayon.
President Duterte thanked the government of Japan for donating almost 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. He also expressed his gratitude to the United States government for providing COVID-19 vaccines through the COVAX facility. He said the 7th shipment of vaccines from the United States, totaling approximately 18 million doses, is a demonstration of the strength of U.S.-Philippine alliance. He also said he is hoping that more donations from other countries would bring the country closer to its goal of having a better Christmas. The Philippines has so far received more than 91.5 million COVID-19 vaccine doses. This is expected to reach 104 million doses by the end of October. The country has also administered about 53 million COVID-19 vaccines, with 32% of the country's adult population already fully vaccinated. The government will expand its pediatric COVID-19 inoculations to 13 more hospitals in Metro Manila as more minors show up during the pilot run. So far, the vaccination drive for minors is being held at select hospitals, which include the Philippine Children's Medical Center, National Children's Hospital, Philippine Heart Center, Pasig City Children's Hospital, Fe del Mundo Medical Center, Philippine General Hospital, St. Luke's Hospital Global City, and the Makati Medical Center. The younger population aged 12 to 17 years with existing illnesses are part of the eligible population for COVID-19 vaccination program. They are classified under the pediatric A3 category. President Rodrigo Duterte said he is pleased with the huge turnout of vaccinees and would like to expand the vaccination program to cover more minors in other parts of the country.
I am happy to report that on the first day of inoculation of the minors last October 15, more than 1,100 minors with comorbidities have been given their first dose of vaccine against COVID-19. Also, we will expand the vaccination of this adolescent age group of 12 to 17 by adding 13 more hospitals in the NCR. Currently, we have an initial 8 participating hospitals, and we hope to expand this number ng mga hospital. And we also will welcome the arrival of additional vaccines in the coming days.
Minors aged 18 years old and below are now allowed to travel in private and public utility vehicles as long as they are accompanied by an adult. MMDA Chair Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. said allowing intrazonal and interzonal travel of minors is based on the IATF guidelines on the implementation of alert level system in pilot areas. Under the MMDA resolution approved by the 17 mayors in Metro Manila, minors are allowed to travel to obtain essential goods or for work in permitted industries and offices. Abalos clarified that while they eased the restriction for minors, they are not yet allowed to enter the malls except for essential needs. Aside from minors, pregnant women and senior citizens will also be allowed to go out for outdoor exercise. More government agencies and provinces are slowly opening their borders and kickstarting some activities to promote tourist destinations. The details from Marita Mawahe.
The Tourism Promotions Board will kickstart the motorcycle tourism program next month to regain the public's confidence to travel again. The program aims to showcase the interesting culture and heritage sites, shops, restaurants, and other tourism products all over the country. The riders will travel approximately 850 to 980 kilometers along a pre-identified route covering Manila and the provinces of Rizal, Laguna, Quezon, Batangas, and Cavite for 2 days as they explore several interesting pit stops and share with the public the beauty of the country on 2 wheels. Some riders' events are also scheduled in Central Luzon and Mindanao this year. The Motorbike Tour in Tarlac and Nueva Ecija on October 21 to 22. The Halal Foods Rediscovery Motorcycle Ride to promote halal food and establishments, and the 10th Mindanao Freedom Ride on November 5 to 12, spearheaded by the Normindring Motorbikes. Meanwhile, fully vaccinated tourists may visit Baguio City soon to enjoy its natural attractions. Mayor Benjamin Magalong said the easing of restrictions might start next week if the decrease in cases will continue. Magalong said that in case the city opts to open its borders to fully vaccinated tourists, documentation will continue to be required. And in Antique, a group of local hotel and restaurant owners has welcomed the provincial government's move to reopen its doors to leisure travelers. Under the executive order issued by Governor Rodora Cadiao, Tourists coming from areas within Western Visayas must be fully vaccinated and must present a copy of their reservations in the hotel, resorts, and restaurants accredited by the Department of Tourism. An S-Pass or Safe, Swift, and Smart Passage will also be required at the border checkpoints. Meanwhile, those who are coming from other areas will still be required to secure a negative RT-PCR test results and the S-Pass before they can enter the province. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muaje.
Still to come, the Education Department explains while the number of participating schools in the pilot face-to-face classes has been reduced to 30. And healthcare workers and the vulnerable sector may soon receive their third shot of COVID-19. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magpakarehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Ako po si Sergeant Munoz ng Philippine Air Force para sa kampanya na Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Proud po akong sabihin na bakunado na ako laban sa COVID-19. Kaya naman po panatag ang aking kalooban dahil alam ko na protektado ako at ang aking pamilya laban sa coronavirus. Bida ang may disiplina. Kaya naman magparehistro at magpabakuna na para sa ligtas na pamilya at ligtas na bayan.
The Department of Education says only 30 out of the 59 schools that passed the assessment will push through with a pilot implementation of the face-to-face classes on November 15. DepEd Assistant Secretary Malcolm Garma said among the schools that will push through are Bicol, Western Visayas, Central Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, and Soxargen.
Ang malaki pong dahilan ng hindi pagkakasama ng paaralan, bagamat sila po ay bahagi ng listahan ng DOH, ay yung hindi pagpayag ng LGU o hindi pagpayag ng komunidad o ng mga magulang. At pangatlo, kung ang kanilang lugar ay biglang dumami ang kaso ng COVID. So ito po yung mga dahilan kung bakit yung sa 59 naging 30 na lang.
Meanwhile, DepEd also said they are eyeing to promote incentives for teachers and non-teaching personnel who have decided to get their COVID-19 shots. Garma said the department is already looking into either monetary or non-monetary incentive packages for vaccinated personnel as per the instruction of Education Secretary Leonor Riones. The government is planning to begin administering a third dose of COVID-19 vaccine for healthcare workers and the country's vulnerable sector by November or early December. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Cardito Galvez Jr. said the World Health Organization has already given its inclination for third dosing, considering that immunity may lapse over time. The Department of Health is awaiting the WHO's official recommendation to give additional doses of the COVID-19 vaccine to immunocompromised persons, senior citizens, and healthcare workers. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, meanwhile, clarified that booster shots and additional doses are different, and the WHO has yet to recommend a third shot for the general population. The Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization on October 11 said those with weakened immunity should receive an additional shot. As rehabilitation and the pouring of aid continues in war-torn Marawi City, President Rodrigo Duterte vowed to let the public know how taxpayers' money is being used as he refused to take credit for the rebuilding of the city.
President Rodrigo Duterte has vowed transparency in the use of government funds for the rehabilitation of war-torn Marawi City. After a video presentation showing completed infrastructures in Marawi City was aired during his talk on Tuesday night, Duterte said Filipinos deserve to know how the government is spending taxpayers' money. Duterte assured that government resources would go to the intended projects to build back the city that was freed from Islamic State-linked terrorists. Duterte also echoed a statement by Task Force Bangon Marawi Chair Secretary Eduardo del Rosario that the government could not take credit for efforts to rehabilitate Marawi City. The Department of Social Welfare and Development is among the agencies that extends assistance to internally displaced families in Marawi. The DSWD reported that the assistance for more than 21,000 families has reached more than 1.2 billion pesos since the end of the 5-month war in October 2017. The DSWD also contributed some 905 million pesos worth of livelihood settlement grants and more than 20 million pesos worth of food packs. Social protection programs and interventions worth about 2.1 million pesos also went to unserved families included in the Cathanor database, a biometrics profiling system of Task Force Bangon Marawi. Meanwhile, the Japanese government has turned over 150 permanent houses to Marawi residents displaced during the 2017 siege. The turnover on October 15 was virtually joined by Japan Ambassador to Manila, Kazuhiko Koshikawa. Japan has so far handed over a total of 329 houses to those who lost their homes due to the war. The Japanese government in 2018 provided a grant of $10 million in support of UN Habitat's program to provide core shelters and livelihood support for those affected by the Marawi siege. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
The Department of Energy vows to answer the criminal complaint against Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi and other energy officials in the proper forum, even as it downplayed the charge as a political move. On Monday, geologists Balgamel Domingo and concerned citizens Rodel Rodis and Loida Nicolas Lewis filed a criminal complaint against Cusi and other DOE officials. The complainants alleged that unwarranted benefits and advantage were given to Dennis Uys UC Malampaya in the buyout of 45% of Chevron's share in the Malampaya field. The DOE, however, said 2 of the complainants are identified with the Oust Duterte movement in the United States. It pointed out that Cusi is the incumbent president of the PDP Laban led by President Rodrigo Duterte. It also questioned the timing of the filing of the case just when the political season is coming. In a statement, holding firm, Udena said that it has yet to receive a copy of the complaint. Up next, the Department of Justice is working to resolve more cases of extrajudicial killings in the country. And let us take a look at this mobile kitchen that travels in and around the metro to feed the hungry. We are back after a quick break. Stay with the PNA Newsroom. You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The public will be informed of the details of 52 cases involving deaths during anti-illegal drug operations. Justice Undersecretary Neil Bainto said the disclosure will assure the families of the deceased that they will learn of the circumstances of each death and the possible criminal liability, such as that of the part of police officers. He urged witnesses or persons with first-hand information helpful to the resolution of the 52 cases to come forward and give their statements to the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI. The Department of Justice, or DOJ, has concluded its review of alleged cases of extrajudicial killings submitted by the Philippine National Police and its Internal Affairs Service. The cases are to undergo further investigation and case build-up for the possible filing of criminal charges if warranted. DOJ Secretary Bernardo Guevara also assured the government will provide the results of its review and investigation. A new mall registration site is opening to accommodate registrants to the Philippine Identification System, or PhilSys, in Davao del Sur. The PhilSys started registration on the second level of NCCC Mall VP in Davao del Sur on Friday. Registration is open from Monday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Philippine Statistics Authority said the site will accommodate registrants who applied online or via the house-to-house sign-up for the Philippine Identification Card. Registrants must bring one valid ID, the appointment stub or number, face shields and masks, and ball pen for the Step 2 biometrics process. Davaoenos who have concerns may contact the PhilSys Davao del Sur's Facebook account. And in our news from overseas, the South Korean Presidential Blue House announced a National Security Council meeting in response to a reported missile launch by North Korea. In a statement by South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, the military spotted one unidentified ballistic missile which Pyongyang launched towards the East Sea from the vicinity of Sinpo, North Hamgyong province in northeastern North Korea. Intelligence authorities of South Korea and the United States are analyzing further details on the missile. The South Korean military was closely monitoring the relevant situation and maintaining readiness posture to prepare for possible further launches. And in sports, the 31st Southeast Asian Games is going to be held in Vietnam by the middle of May next year. This was confirmed during the SEA Games Federation meeting on Monday. Philippine Olympic Committee President Bambol Tolentino proposed during the online meeting for the event to formally open by May 12. The SEA Games was originally scheduled from November 21 to December 2nd this year in Hanoi, but it was moved to May due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It is also traditionally done every odd-number year since 1959, making the 31st edition the first time the event will happen in an even-numbered year. A total of 520 events from 40 sports will take place in Hanoi, with the Philippine team participating in 39 sports. Relief organization Rise Against Hunger Philippines has launched its mobile kitchen project to help alleviate malnutrition and hunger. The mobile kitchen targets to feed at least 500 persons per deployment. The first mobile kitchen currently operates in Barangay Rosario, Pasig City. The project piloted at Pasig Elementary School on September 30. Mobile kitchens and food banks will also be stationed in Taguig and Manila. Each feeding program will be complemented by a malnutrition education drive. The mobile kitchen will run thrice a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Executive Director Jomar Fleras hopes that the project will inspire more organizations to continuously assist Filipinos, especially during the COVID-19 crisis. Interested contributors may contact Kain Tayo Pilipinas via email or visit the Rise Against Hunger Philippines website or Facebook page. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Rodrigo Duterte welcomes calls from the Ombudsman to investigate Pharmally. The Education Department explains why the number of participating schools in the pilot face-to-face classes has been reduced to 30. As the country slowly reopens its economy, the tourism industry works double time in promoting the country. And let us take a look at this mobile kitchen that travels in and around the metro to feed the hungry. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And it is 66 days to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day. Stay safe, everyone.